It is the start of Black History Month, and did you know that over half of Black British people have experienced racial bias when they are out on a date? Now, this comes from research that's been done by the dating app Bumble. Some say that they've been made to feel unwelcome. You've all had others that have been completely ignored. A quarter of people asked said that they've experienced direct racism. Now, the author, Georgina Lawton, is with me to discuss this a bit more because I'm absolutely gobsmacked by it. Good morning, Georgina.
Hi there.
What do you make of these results?
Do you know what? As a black mixed woman, I'm not particularly surprised. I think it speaks to unfortunate amount of systemic racism that's still in the UK today. And, you know, that takes place not just in our workspaces or behind closed doors, but when we go out and when we go on dates. And, of course, you know, 60% of people say this bias is happening in bars and restaurants, and these are the spaces that we go, you know, to have fun like everybody else. But, of course, there is racism in this country, and that is going to seep into some of our recreational leisure time as well. So, yeah, I wasn't particularly surprised, unfortunately.
Now, we're talking about racial bias, but I want to break this down, because you're saying that it happens like when people are in bars and restaurants. Is this from onlookers, or is this from the person that they're on a date with?
Yeah, so it's not the person that they're on a date with. It's more, you know, people around them or members of staff. That's what the research said. So it's, again, speaking to, I guess, the amount of prejudice that still, unfortunately, is really prevalent in the UK.
It's interesting because I'm a black woman, and I've dated black men, mixed race men, but also I've dated English men, and I'm trying to think of any times where I've come across racism. For me, it hasn't been that bad, but I don't know if that is because of the areas of where I go when it comes to dating, because the research that's been done is saying that more people feel secure, or they feel more happier if they date at black owned venues and spaces.
No, yeah, completely. I mean, you know, it's 48% of people saying that they do want to date in black-owned spaces, and I think that speaks, again, to, I guess, the importance of protecting these spaces, which is why I was really keen to get behind this campaign, Bumble. They've got £50,000 that they're giving to black-owned small businesses, and if you are a black-owned small business, you can apply for some of this £50,000, and I think that's a great thing, because nobody should have to worry about microaggressions or dating when they're dating, and nobody should worry about, you know, experiencing negative racial bias from members of the staff. So if you have experienced that, then you've got the opportunity to go to a black-owned space, and Bumble's investing in that for Black History Month and beyond. So I think that's really great.
Georgina, why do you still think that this is about?
Gosh, I don't know, several reasons. I guess it comes from the top down, really. You know, we've got a government that is saying that there's no racism in the UK at all, and they're sort of poo-pooing reports that say there is racism. So I think until it comes from the top down, a lot of people are still going to be in denial, and of course that will seep into, you know, the spaces that we go on dates. And dating should be fun and it should be empowering, but I think there's a lot of, I guess, racial gaslighting in this country whereby we just pretend that racism doesn't exist. So I think that's one of the main reasons that's going on.
It's interesting because we've asked you to come on so that we can talk about this report. But one thing that I wanted to talk to you about is because during Black History Month, and actually before that, we have, my group of my friends, some WhatsApp groups that I'm in, will share like books that we can get into and read. And your book is actually on there, Raceless. Now, it's about exploring and accepting your identity. And it comes from your own personal experience, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like, getting behind black spaces is something that I'm really keen to support, because I was brought up in an all-white family, and I didn't have any reason or any explanation for my own blackness. So I know what it's like to sort of, you know, be the odd one out when you are in these spaces, what that feels like. And that's what the book Raceless is about. It's about my experience growing up in a white family, you know, a loving white family, but trying to work out, I guess, what my identity meant, why I was black mixed when everyone else around me was white. So yeah, I definitely understand the importance of protecting black spaces, and, you know, being in areas where people look like you. That's also super important, whether you're on a date or whether you're with your family.
And it is Black History Month. What can we do about the research?
I guess just having conversations like this is a start, because it's making people aware that, you know, we live in a country where systemic racism is still prevalent, and that will go into our dating experience as well. And I think, you know, for black people, if they do have negative experiences on dates, just giving us the choice to go elsewhere. You know, of course, we're going to go to plenty of venues that aren't black owned. That's just the reality of living in, you know, the UK. But if we invest in black spaces, then I guess we just get the choice to spend our money and spend black, because a lot of time we're talking about supporting black communities, but to do that, I think you really have to invest in them and you really actually have to put money behind them. So with companies like Bumble doing that, that's great, but then we also have the choice as consumers to go and spend money in venues where we feel really comfortable and we're having a lot of fun. I think that's also great.
Is there a way that we can kind of click on and read this report as well if you want to find out more information?
Yeah, so Bumble have got information on the app as well. If you download Bumble, you can do that, and you can also do something called a date generator where you can put in, you know, area that you're living in, and if you want to go to a black-owned venue, it will give you sort of some suggestions. So you can do that on the app and you can do that online, and also there's more research and the opportunity to apply for the £50,000 is also on bumble.com or on the app as well.
Georgina, thank you for coming on BBC Radio Manchester to talk to us today, and also happy Black History Month as well.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy my book.
Will do, definitely. Thank you. So that is Georgina Lawton, author of Raceless. As I said, it's been recommended to me by so many people. So do, if you have a chance, get out and read that.